Symbology of the Bible, Volume 2. The Beginning. Genesis 1 verse 1, In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. 3. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. 4. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. 6. And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. 7. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters, which were under the firmament, from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. 8. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. 9. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. 10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good. 11. And God said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree, yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth, and it was so. 12. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb, yielding seed after his kind, and the tree, yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself, after his kind, and God saw that it was good. 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. 14. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and it was so. 16. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. The Hebrew for was is haya, and it is used to represent various tenses.
Haya. H 1961. Haya. A primitive root. Compare H 1933. Exist. Be, become, come about.
Based on other writings, we should interpret verse 2 as became void, rather than was void. Isaiah 45 verse 18, For thus saith the Lord, that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth, and made it, he hath established it, he created it not in vain, he formed it to be inhabited, I am the Lord, and there is none else. The Hebrew for void in Genesis 1:2 is
Bo. H 922. Bohu. A vacuity, i.e., superficially, an undistinguishable ruin. Etymology. From an unused root, meaning to be empty. KJV. Emptiness, void.
The Hebrew for vain in Isaiah 45:18 is
Tohu. H 84:14. Tohu. A desolation of surface, i.e. desert. Figuratively, a worthless thing. Adverbially, in vain. Etymology. From an unused root meaning to lie waste. KJV. Confusion, empty place, without form, nothing, thing of naught, not, vain, vanity, waste. Wilderness.
Note, confusion is applicable. This is also the word for form in Genesis 1, verse 2, The earth was not created as described in the beginning, by interpretation, it became so. And this is what the Spirit of God did, rather than move.
Rachaf. Rahab. H7363. A primitive root, to brood, implied to be relaxed, flutter, move, shake.
And this is what the Spirit of God did, rather than move. He was brooding on what to do about the situation where the serpent and his followers wanted to usurp the power to manipulate spacetime and be higher than the other stars. We go from the moment of creation in verse 1 to the overthrow of the previous age and the beginning of this flesh age in verse 2. And we know the symbology of water being people, languages, and nations. Yahweh decided to separate the children of darkness from the children of the light. It is this separation of the waters that occurs in the verses in Genesis. Note that the light and dark appear before the sun and moon. Also, there is a firmament before the land appears. Another source to support this view is an Ode of Solomon, 22:11. Incorruptible was your way and your face, you have brought your world to corruption, that everything might be resolved and renewed. This means the war in heaven, and the dragon and his flood. The coming Aeon will renew all things, and this Aeon will resolve who will be present in the former. Yahweh did not create the planet void, he made it that way afterward. However, what that really means is, the former age was declared void, and the new age began. In Genesis 1, verse 5, we see a designation of light as day and darkness as night, and then in verse 14, the sun and moon are created. The stars are also seen in verse 16, quite after the creation account given in the prior verses. Furthermore, the grass and herbs are symbolic of those who remained here, transfigured into flesh bodies, and they began to populate the earth, and the stars are those who were returned to the parent dimension. This is the meaning of the following verse. Amos 5 verse 8, Seek him that maketh the 7 stars, and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. Recall that Yahshua is the brightest star, the morning star, the sun, and he will evaporate the darkness by his brightness. As the events, in the book of Genesis, a Greek title for in the beginning, are studied, there is a noticeable connection with the book of Revelation. 1. The serpent falls, and will fall permanently. 2. The tree of life is taken away, and then it is restored. 3. The earth became void, and then it is rejuvenated. But, always remember, the purpose of the above events in Genesis is, 1. To give his children a chance, 2. To destroy that age rather than them, and 3. Let them choose him or the other path, without an external influence, that is, we will exhibit our true nature. And it will be an exhibit on Judgment Day. This is spoken of by Enoch. Enoch 25:3. The eternal King will sit, when he shall come down to visit, for the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it, till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all, and bring everything to its consummation. 5. Forever. It shall then be given to the righteous and holy. Its fruit shall be for food to the elect, it shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of the Lord, the eternal King. 6. Then shall they rejoice with joy, and be glad, and into the holy place shall they enter, and its fragrance shall be in their bones. This speaks of the permanent separation, those upon whom judgment will be non-existence, and those who will receive the fruit of the tree of life at the consummation of this age. And the time stamps we are given, the day on which the events were completed, can be considered as Lord's days, 1,000 years. Now, let us continue with the beginning, Genesis 1 verse 17, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. 18, and to rule over the day, and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, and God saw that it was good. 19, and the evening, and the morning were the fourth day. 20, and God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly, the moving creature that hath life, and fowl, that may fly above the earth, in the open firmament of heaven. 21, and God created great whales, and every living creature, that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind, and every winged fowl, after his kind, and God saw that it was good. 22, and God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply, in the earth. 23, and the evening and the morning were the fifth day. 24, and God said, Let the earth bring forth, the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth, after his kind, and it was so. 25, and God made the beast of the earth, after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and every thing, that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and God saw, that it was good. 26, and God said, Let us make man, in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion, over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing, that creepeth upon the earth. The man in verse 26, above, is Adam.
Adam. H120. Adam. Ruddy, i.e., a human being, an individual or the species, mankind, etc. Etymology, from H119. KJV. Man, meaning of low degree, person.
But, note the plurality, us and our, in that verse, reflecting Yahweh, and the other spiritual beings, the sons of God, the lofty ones above the firmament, in the parent dimension. However, we also have the following. Isaiah 7 verse 14, Therefore, the Lord himself, shall give you a sign, behold, a virgin shall conceive, and bear a son, and shall call his name, Emmanuel. Matthew 1 verse 21, And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people, from their sins. Verse 26, can even be thought of as, the establishment of the vessels, to contain the spirits, and souls, of the stars. Also, this man is not given the breath of life, as is the man in the following verses, Adam. But there is one other aspect to consider. Matthew 19 verse 29, And every one that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive an hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life. 30, But many, that are first, shall be last, and the last, shall be first. This is reminiscent of the banquet, where Yahshua instructs to sit in the lower room, so those more in need, can take the seats, in the upper room. If those in the lower room, are the first, then they will descend Jacob's ladder last, and those who fell short, the last of the sheep, and fish, descended first. Returning to the topic of the Genesis time frame, there was an event in the past, that coincides with, the scale of Lord's days.
Could a devastating comet impact, in Earth's distant past, have forever changed human civilization? Scientists think that a cluster of comet shards may have smashed into Earth's surface 13,000 years ago, in the most catastrophic impact since the Chicxulub event killed off Earth's large dinosaurs, about 66 million years ago. This work builds on previous research that has suggested that a significant impact may have preceded the beginning of the Neolithic period, the first part of the Stone Age, in which a number of major developments in human civilization took place, including notable steps forward in agriculture, architecture, and stone tools. From https://www.space.com.
From 2022, 13,000 years ago, would be around 11,000 BC. The above report is a sister report to the one below.
The Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, YDIH, or Clovis Comet Hypothesis, is a speculative attempt to explain the onset of the Younger Dryas, YD, as an alternative to the long-standing and widely accepted cause due to a significant reduction or shutdown of the North Atlantic conveyor in response to a sudden influx of fresh water from Lake Agassiz and deglaciation in North America. The ID posits that fragments of a large, more than 4 kilometers in diameter, disintegrating asteroid, or comet, struck North America, South America, Europe, and Western Asia around 12,850 years ago, coinciding with the beginning of the Younger Dryas cooling event. Multiple meteor, airbursts, and/or impacts are said to have produced the Younger Dryas boundary layer, YDB, depositing peak concentrations of platinum, high-temperature spherules, melt glass, and nanodiamonds, forming an isochronous datum at more than 50 sites across about 50 million square kilometers of Earth's surface. From https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/category:younger_dryas_impact_hypothesis.
So, there is evidence of a global event where numerous species disappeared or became extinct, and there were significant, rapid changes in technology of the time. If we look at the first 5 days of Genesis, as Lord's days, we arrive circa 6 to 7,000 BC from 12,000 to 11,000 BC. Anthropologists say hunter-gatherer societies existed hundreds of thousands of years ago. However, they operate under the assumption of evolution and consider primate remains found represent modern human ancestors. One such hominid is famously known as Lucy. The remains found are few. Based on the remains shown to the left, theorized appearances have been presented. As we can see, the entire skull was imagined, and Lucy has been classified as a biped. However, as the one rendition, the red arrow, shows, the hominid may have been closer to a great ape, and not bipedal as in, an upright walking hominid. In any event, some of the first civilizations are considered to be the following.
1. Mesopotamia, 4000 to 3500 BC. 2. Ancient Egypt, 3100 BC. 3. Ancient India, 3300 BC. 4. Ancient China, 2000 BC.
In any event, some of the first civilizations are considered to be the following. If we consider the sixth Lord's Day, it brings us to circa 5000 BC, and the seventh day brings us right into the ballpark. The presence of the sons of God, in the beginning, is likely the source of knowledge for the transfigured beings. Enoch 8, 1-3, and Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings, Armoros, the resolving of enchantments, Barakijal taught astrology, Kokabel, the constellations, Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds, Arakiel, the signs of the earth, Shamsiel, the signs of the sun, and Seriel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. In addition, the development of technology suddenly after the overthrow, due to the teachings of the named ones, speaks to the sudden appearance of civilizations, with megalithic structures, discussed previously. To close this article, let us look at the name Azazel, per the usual method of digging to the root.
Uzai. H186, Uzai, an Israelite. Etymology, perhaps by permutation for H5813, strong.
Uzi.
H5813, Uzi, forceful. Uzi, the name of 6 Israelites. Etymology, from H5810.
Azaz.
H5810, Azaz, to be stout, literally or figuratively. Etymology, a primitive root. KJV, harden, impudent, prevail, strengthen, strengthen self, be strong.
So, there are a couple of options we can propose: Azza plus Zel, Azaz plus El, are 2. Recall the prodigal son, Barzel, where the lavishness, the prodigious manner of living, wasted his substance.
Zul.
H2107, Zul, probably to shake out, i.e., by implication, to scatter profusely, figuratively, to treat lightly. Etymology, a primitive root. Compare H2151. KJV, lavish, despise.
In either of the identified constructions, we see the impudence of this one, thinking he is as strong as El, forcefully declaring it, despising his original state, Jacob's ladder, and his fate. Note also the similarity of Ezekiel to Ezekiel, Daniel to Daniel, more examples of the fallen ones, trying to pose as righteous ones, to create confusion.